Welcome to the lecture series on computer science. As a part of the series, today we will be seeing on artificial intelligence, and the course is on the introduction to it, and this is with not only respect to undergraduate but also for postgraduate and other anyone who is interested to learn what is in AI basically. The topics in this module, this is the first module, and the topics that we would be covering as a part of this module is the history of AI, which is the timeline from 1950 onwards. Then we will talk about what are the present trends right now that is prevailing in AI, and I will close with what are the topics that will be covered as a part of this course. In textbooks or in websites, if you just look, there will be number of definitions in artificial intelligence, and it is prevalent in these days, whether it be in mobile phones that you carry, where we look onto the navigation system like Google Maps, or in Uber. We will be interacting with AI, or the spell check facility in the word processors, or the dictation software that we use to dictate our notes in the mobile phones. All these uses AI. But in general, there are a number of definitions, and I have taken two statements, one from ChatGPT, which says artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think and learn. If you look at, I have highlighted some words in red, and towards the last you would see the two words, which is think and learn, and also the programmed. So let me talk about what is thinking in terms of the human side or even in the animal side. When we say think, we generally, it's meant to be the reasoning out mechanism. I will give one example for thinking and one example for learning, and I will also talk about the programming side. Now the thinking, the reasoning side, the example is, suppose I am right now in a studio with some equipments around, and also there is an adjacent room which is next to me where the lights and fan are operating, and also the other equipments are there. Suddenly the fan stops and the light also goes off. I conclude that the power goes off, or a person next to in the next room has moved away. So this indicates that say either one of the two conditions, this decision which I am perceiving, or I am through perception I am concluding, this is called as the reasoning. The second one is the learning. Say for example, last 10 days it has been raining in the evening, and looking at that, I will conclude that okay, tomorrow also it might rain because of the weather conditions. This is the learning aspect. So how do we take the reasoning and learning aspect to be programmed automatically such that the computers can process? This in a way we can term it as artificial intelligence. Another definition is from the Oxford Dictionary, which says the intelligence that includes the visual perception, which is the seeing, what I am seeing, the speech recognition, which I am talking, the decision making, the decision which I told in two examples the first statement, and the translation between languages. So this is actually the translation, we call it as a machine translation, but Oxford Dictionary has given this term also inside the definition of AI particularly, but this is a very specific one small part of AI. This machine translation is something like, I am talking to you all in English, and while you are hearing in the television or on YouTube, you might hear in your local language, or such as Tamil, or in North India as Hindi. So these constitute as intelligence, or how we can term it as the artificial intelligence. And if we look at what are the domains involved in it, where is the artificial intelligence has got the foundations from, there are from many domains which contribute to this. The first one being the philosophy. Philosophy is the mind, say the mind and the knowledge. How do we get knowledge, and how are mind related to the brains? So those aspects of it might influence the artificial intelligence era. The second one is the mathematics. Mathematics plays a big role. The reason is, only through mathematics we would be able to provide some quantitative approach that can be triggered into programs so that we can write computer programs emulating this intelligence. The third area is the psychology. It is not in the, whatever I say, it is not in the order, but we can have different domains that has the foundations. The third one is the psychology, where the psychology in the sense the human understanding. Suppose I am talking to a class of students, I have to know what the student's strength is, at what level the students are, so that whatever I talk they would be able to understand. The terms of psychology or the human understanding is a must, which lay a foundation for artificial intelligence. Another one is the linguistics, the communication side. We call it in the language processing. Whatever I am talking in English, how do I communicate? Which are the words that are coherent so that it makes a sentence? So, those kind of aspects. Another one is the neuroscience, the neural system that in our body that is responsible for the thought process can be emulated, and this forms the basis for or the inspiration for the neural networks that right now we see in many domains, especially the Gen AI or the Chat GPT that we use has the foundations from the neuroscience, and that inspired from that they have the neural networks, which is a part of AI. And lastly, the computer science. So, what we are saying is we have all these areas, the domains, we have to program or automate it such a way that the intelligence can be put into some form so that the computer is able to mimic it. Okay. So, with this domain, I would slightly drift and talk about the time frame of AI from 1950 onwards over the decades. So, I have divided the presentation into a decade each, except for the last decade, which would be 1990 to 2010. So, we will go through the history of AI. In 1950, it was Alan Turing who proposed the Turing test. The Turing test goes like this. There is a human interrogator present, and there in a room, and there are two rooms separated by a wall, and in each of the rooms a human being is there, and another room a machine is present, and the human interrogator poses a question to both human being as well as the machine, and assume that both the human being and the machine are separated by a wall and they are not able to hear. In that case, if the interrogator is able to get the answer and not able to distinguish whose answer, whether it is machine or whether it is going to be the man or the human being, then the machine has passed the Turing test. So, in the sense that the human interrogator should not distinguish between the man or the machine. So, if that is the case, then the test is passed by the machine. So, this is the first test. Although there are some criticisms available with Turing test, till now it is one of the milestone tests in AI. In 1951, there was a conference, 1956 there is a Dartmouth conference, which is the third bullet, where the name AI is coined, and in 1951 a first AI program was done, where it checks for the English words. And if on the there are two pictures here. On the left side you would see, on the left side you would see the Turing machine and Alan Turing. On the right side is the Dartmouth conference, where there are founding fathers of AI. In the next decade, from 1960 to 70, an Unimate, a first industrial robot, was designed by General Motors. And if you see that industrial this robot, the function is actually there were some toxic substances that were available, which was not possible for humans to work. So, they built this robot which could do some automated task like sorting the part numbers, etc. And in 1964 to 66, ELIZA was developed. ELIZA is the first chatbot. Now, we have the Chat GPT or Gemini, but in 1964 to 66, an ELIZA, a chatbot, was developed. That was the first natural language processing program. And in 1968 to 70, there is a program called shell do, which is able to move the blocks through the commands, like for example, the picture at the top, the bottom right corner. It is a block, it's called as a block world, where there will be the number of blocks in colors. Here I put it in black and white. So, if they say pick up a blue block or red block, the blocks world would understand, and it would actually obey to the commands. This is during 1960 to 70. And in the next decade, from 1970 to 80, one of the first programming language named Prolog was developed. And in 1973, the first AI winter, because due to the lack of funds, the boom of AI was going down, it was resting down. So, 1973 was the first winter. And 1979, an autonomous vehicle was built by a Stanford team named Stanford Cart. The picture right there, it is taken from Stanford University, where it is able to wail through a room and avoid the chairs, and that is without any human interventions. So, this is from the decade of 70 to 80, and from 80 to 90, it was the era of expert systems. An expert system is again with respect to mostly the reasoning methods of Y. And the first expert system was developed by XCon, and the left side there is a picture of MySyn. MySyn is a medical diagnosis system. It goes by say these expert system will have a number of if then rules. If there is something, then it's, suppose for example, for medical diagnosis, if someone has cold, then he can be diagnosed with fever, something like that. So, that if and then rules are correlated, and these if then rules will have a million rules, and the machines can automate according to those rules. And this expert system is specific to one area, one domain. It is not a generic one, and because of it, there was again the expectations was not met, and the second AI winter begins, which means the AI boom again it was slowing down. And in the next decade, from 91 to 2000, IBM Deep Blue that defeats the chess player Garry Kasparov. In this picture, you can see the Deep Blue playing it. And another main incident is Chindia, Brazil develops Kismet, an AI robot which is capable of responding through emotions. And on the right side, you can see the picture of robots with different emotions. Say you could identify that as calm, on the right side as angry robot, a surprised robot, a disgust robot, a sad robot, and an interesting robot. So, these emotions, although we say now there is plenty of emotion recognition systems available, in those days there was one incident that started off this with developing an AI robot with emotion simulating robot. Okay. And in the next 2 decades, from 2001 to 2020, okay, this was the autonomous vehicle developed by Stanley, which won the grand challenge of DARPA, which can maze through without the driver. And IBM Watson defeats the 2 former champions on Jeopardy, and on the right side of the picture you could see the 2 winners of the Jeopardy, the previous winners, and in the middle is the Watson who is winning the other 2 former champions. And another main incident is the revival of neural networks during 2001 to 2020. Now, the revival of neural networks, although it is coming back of neural networks, the neural network actually started in 1940. The reason why it came in 2001 to 20, we can nail down to two things. One would be the computation power. The computation power was increasing, the chip size was going down, and the going up, and the going down, and the cost of it is coming down, and the computing power is going high. So, the number crunching facilities by machines, we had enormous power. So, people like people on Google, the main players, they took this as an advantage and built some machines using the neural networks. The second approach is the growth of internet. With internet, there are humongous data around in the network. So, these data can be used for neural network computation. So, always the neural networks need lots of data to compute. So, these two factors led to the revival of neural networks. In the continuing with the same term from 2001 to 2020, AlphaGo, which is from Google DeepMind, it defeats the world champion Lee Sedol in the game of Go, and Go is considered to be much more difficult than chess. And another main incident is the OpenAI, founded to promote and develop AI which helps humanity. OpenAI is the one who is giving out ChatGPT. And how do they do it? It is based on the transformer based language model. This transformer is not with respect to electrical transformers, but with respect to the neural networks. So, we will get into the structure maybe later in the course, but this transformer based language model made a big disruption in AI industries. And these are the two figures. One on the left side is the AlphaGo, which is defeating the champion Lee Sedol, and on the right side it is the about page of OpenAI model. And these whatever I talked is about the timeline from 1950 to 2020, and now we will talk about some of the current trends that are prevailing and also the future ones. The first one, the current, is the knowledge representation and reasoning. Although people right now talk only about the learning part, this is still prevailing today. That is the reasoning which I started off with an example. The second one is the machine learning, which is very much prevalent even in nowadays. The third is the natural language processing, and we will go through some of it in this module. Natural language processing is with respect to the language that we are talking. It may be either in English or in Tamil or in any other language. The computer vision is, okay, we have the cameras, and once we take the photograph, can we identify that as with the type of an image, or can we use that image to proceed with some direction or give some inference. That is computer vision. The robotics, both hardware as well as the software part of it, that also is coming to the picture for different types of domains. Large language model, the recent one, which is the ChatGPT or Copilot, those are the ones which was built with the large language models. And the current future trends, okay, we have all these. How are we going to deal with the ethics, which is called as an ethical AI, and the explainable AI? Okay, we have AI, and how do we explain those, or interpret and explain so that a common man could understand, or even the others, the industrials or whoever using it, can we develop some explainable stuff with AI? That's the future trend. In the current trends, the recent one that is being prevalent nowadays is the machine learning. And if you look at machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence, and deep learning, where the foundation is the neural network, that comes inside a part of the machine learning. But we will go through that in detail in one of the units. And if you see the applications of machine learning, and on the right side of the figure there are plenty of applications listed. If you take automatic language translation, which I talked about, a medical diagnosis system, the stock trade marketing, online fraud reduction, you can just go through it. The traffic prediction, image recognition, all those are going to be the applications of machine learning. Or even the example that I said, which would be the navigation system that we use for Uber or Ola, those are the applications of machine learning. The next current trend is the natural language processing. It is how do the machine understand and respond to the human language? Like I am talking to you, are able to understand. So, can I do the same thing to a machine so that it can understand? The applications of it would be the chatbot or the email filtering. Like the email filtering is, okay, if the email comes, can it be automatically sorted according to some categories, or the language translation, the sentiment analysis, or the emotion recognition, or the smart assistants. All these are going to be the examples of natural language processing. Another current trend is the large language model, and the example here it's going to be GPT-3 or BERT, and we will be seeing it in one of the units in detail. The capability is from here the generative AI starts. Generative AI in the sense, can we generate text from a given prompt? Prompt is in the sense, suppose I give a small frame like summarize the text. It should be able to generate a list of text or paragraphs of text. How does it do that? So, that depends upon one of the term called the large language model, and it can also generate images or even automated videos. And what is the impact of it? The impact it creates is huge, humongous. It would be in content creation, coding, it can generate the programming, and also it can be multiple levels. It can help in the industries. One of example is the customer service requirements. Now, talking about the future trends. In the future trends, it would be the ethics in AI. Why ethics is very important here is the bias in data. Again, I said when we talk about machine learning, learning stuff, we need lots and lots of data. And when we have lots and lots of data, we have to make sure that that data is actually true data and it is not biased. Biased in the sense there may be some kind of impurity in the data. Suppose the data is biased or incorrect, then the decision that it would give is also incorrect. So, when it gives that incorrect data, we do not know whether it is actually correct or wrong. So, it would affect our usage also. And secondly, it functions as a black box. Suppose there is an AI system, the program that we write will run into 1,000 lines of code, and we will have just the input and the output. It is just a black box, and inside that we should have to spend time to understand, debug. It will be taking more time. So, it lacks actually the transparency. The third is the privacy and security. So, privacy in the sense, suppose AI is generating some image, and that image we do not know whether it belongs to a certain person or where does it belong to the AI system itself, and similarly the security is an issue. Accountability. Suppose the AI generated image or AI generated text, suppose it goes wrong, something goes wrong, who are we going to account it for? Is it belonging to a person or belonging to a machine? So, that has to be taken care of. And autonomy and control. So, at what level can we give the autonomy to AI, and at what level can a human intervention be introduced, and who is going to control AI? So, these are some of the areas of future trends which is with respect to ethics. And when we talk about ethics, certainly we have to talk about the explainable stuff. Why? Because we have only the input and output, and we do not know what happens inside the pretty much the code. So, can we have some kind of an automated machines code available such that it is able to explain itself? So, explainable AI, it refers to the system that provides clear understandable reasons of the decision and prediction. Say one example that I could think of is, a few days back I read on a news item that the navigation system given by Google was wrong, and as a person was driving down the road, it was actually a river, but incorrectly it said it is a road. So, those kind of decision making systems, it can be false. So, in that case it would be good to have the ethics as well as the explainable stuff within that, and it helps to understand and trust AI decisions. And once we have the explainable AI, some of the ethical disadvantages that would be cleared off here. Say for example, it can promote transparency, it can be more interpretable, and we can trust the system. So far we have seen the trends as well as the future trend, which in terms of ethics and explainable AI. With this introduction, we will start this course, and there are 5 units totally in this course. The first unit, we will be seeing something on intelligent agent and problem solving, where the intelligent agent, we can imagine some kind of a robot for now, but in the next module I would say what an intelligent agent is, and we will see the different types of agent and how do we formulate a problem such that the agents can be incorporated, say those strategies could be incorporated within that agent to solve the problem. And in unit 2, we would be slightly dealing with the mathematical concepts of AI. It will start with the basics of search techniques, and here we will be doing multiple things of uninformed search, informed, constraint satisfaction problem, and game search. This search is typically something like the analogy I could say is, suppose I have a room and I have lost some item. How do I search? You think that it is there and start searching somewhere until you get that item back. So, a similar analogy can be put into this type of the contents, and the search itself, there are several varieties, and the search is very important when we go into the AI course, because it would be the foundation for the rest of the units. The third unit would be the reasoning with logic, or how do we reason out basically, and this again when we talk in terms of the mathematical aspect, we will be dealing with proposition logic and predicate logic, answering the question of why, and then we would move into how a machine can automatically reason out. Then unit 4 would be typically with agents, and agents will be going in detail, the communicative agent or multiple agents, and in unit 5 it would be the natural language processing and the large language model that is prevalent nowadays. And other books that we are going to follow is the Start Russell and Peter Norvig. The first book is the 3rd edition, and the same authors, it is the 4th edition in 2020, and this is actually the Bible of artificial intelligence, and these 2 books are the one which I am going to follow. Yeah. And as a summary, what we have seen here is what is AI? The definition of AI, we have taken 2 definitions, one from ChatGPT and another from Oxford Dictionary, but there we would basically think of 2 terms. One is going to be the intelligence in terms of thinking, the reasoning out and learning, and then we look at the history of AI, complete AI from 1950 onwards till 2020, along with current and future trends, the future trends being the ethics and explainable AI, and along with that we saw a number of applications with the current trends and the topics that we are going to do as a part of this course. In our next module, we would see the details of the type of agents along with the environment that it goes and the problem formulation introduction of it. Thank you.